Before I begin my talk this morning, I have an assignment for you. Yes, always the teacher. I'd like you to consider the quote on the next slide. There is nothing more beautiful than someone who goes out of their way to make life more beautiful for others. I'd like you to think of someone who's done this for you in your world or perhaps in the wider world. Okay, there might be a quiz later. In 2019, my husband and I took a driving trip out west and visited the Grand Tetons and Yellowstone National Parks. For almost 2 weeks, we drank in that purple mountain's majesty, blankets of wildflowers, thundering waterfalls, and a parade of wildlife: bears, eagles, bison, mountain bluebirds, pelicans, moose. It truly was a feast of natural splendor, and I thought I might wear out my eyeballs gazing at it all. On a postcard to one friend, I wrote simply, "We are awash in beauty." And then barely a week after coming home from that trip, I embarked on another adventure, this one to Prague and Vienna with my good friend Karen Meyer. And here we were surrounded by so much man-made beauty: grand palaces, soaring cathedrals, lavish gardens, paintings, sculpture, another feast. It took my eyes a month to recover. Of course, we all know that we don't have to roam the country or travel the world to find beauty, nor is beauty strictly visual. All of our senses are touched by it. The smell of coffee first thing in the morning, a hot shower on sore muscles, the taste of your favorite comfort food, sound of birdsong, music, and speaking for teachers everywhere, the final bell at the end of a particularly hellish school day. And as beauty is in the eye and the ear or the mouth or the nose of the beholder, it is everywhere, and we are all awash in beauty. The mother, in the reading that Jessie just shared, was wise enough to train her children to look for beauty, and that influenced how they saw the world around them. So not only are our senses touched by beauty, so are our emotions, our perceptions, and ultimately our actions. Miss Rumphius recognized the beauty of her world and figured out a way to make it more beautiful. At the end of the story, she passed that charge along to her great-great-niece Alice, and we're left wondering how Alice will find a way to make the world more beautiful. And hopefully at the end of that story, we're asking ourselves that same question. Ralph Waldo Emerson, in answering the question, what is success, tells us that we can leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition, and knowing that even one life has breathed easier because we have lived. All ways to make the world more beautiful. So a few moments ago, I asked you to consider this quote: "There's nothing more beautiful than someone who goes out of their way to make life more beautiful for others." And I remember the first time I saw that, I began to think of all the people in my life who did that for me, and fortunately, it was a pretty long list. One person who stuck out was the first partner I had. I do plant monitoring for the Conservation District, and I was really lucky because the first partner I had this encyclopedic knowledge of native wildflowers and this huge enthusiasm for it. So I learned so much by working with him, and I came to love our native Illinois wildflowers myself. And now when I come across one in bloom, it's like seeing an old friend. So we're going to try a little sharing here, but there are some ground rules. I would like you, if you can think of someone, to share about that person in one sentence. For example, by following this rule, my sharing would sound like this. My friend Greg made my world more beautiful by teaching me about native wildflowers. That's it. If you want to know more, or I want to tell you more, we can talk during coffee hour or at the potluck. It's also perfectly fine to speak of someone whose effect is maybe out in the wider world. For example, Louise Erdrich's lyrical storytelling creates a beautiful world for her readers. One sentence. Got it? I know you can do this, Tree of Life. So I would like to do this the way we do Joys and Concerns. So we'll ask anybody online who might want to share to raise their hand. We'll do the online folks first, and then anybody else here who wants to share can come up to the mic. So do we have anyone? Those of you online, get to your raised hand icon. I see Sandra Bartholomew has raised her hand. There she is.
Yes, the person who makes my life beautiful is my husband, William Stone. We have all these beautiful works of his around the house, and it's absolutely wonderful. So thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you. Okay. Anyone else online? They're a quiet bunch this morning. I do not see anyone else online. So if there's anyone here, if I haven't been too bossy and intimidating, anyone here? Anyone? Come on up to the microphone and in one sentence, please tell us. I know, Irene, you can do this.
Thanks. My mom, what was the thing, made the world awash in beauty by always referencing a poem from Robert Louis Stevenson when we would go on our walks. That was related to whatever we saw.
Beautiful. Dad?
Jean and Arlo made our world more beautiful by having us spend several summers planting trees and bushes along the hedgerows of a farm.
Nice.
My neighbor Colleen plants the most beautiful garden every year that just makes our neighborhood awash in beauty.
My father-in-law, who passed away like 3-4 years ago, brought beauty to the world through the beautiful quilting that he did.
Ooh.
My grandmother made my life more beautiful by taking me to the Chicago Symphony when I was a child.
Along with the mother themes, my mom made life more beautiful by dragging us to the Art Institute in Chicago. And subsequently, wherever I travel, and I've traveled all over Europe and all kinds of places, it opened the world to me as I went to the museums and added to seeing what I saw in the Art Institute somewhere else and relating to it, and all over the country and all over Europe. So it's opened the world to me.
Yeah.
Just one sentence.
You got
I'll
this.
try.
You got this.
Okay. Two people, my friend Judith, the asylum seeker who received asylum from Cameroon, and Gordon, the German Jew who was born in Germany in 1919. We are working on his estate, and all the furniture things are going to Judith, who is continuing to pass it on to other immigrants, some of the people that we see coming in on the buses. So Judith and Gordon.
My Oma, that's German name for grandma, who taught me the beauty of her, with her fierce independence and her love of nature and her resourcefulness.
Whoever it was who planted the giant lilac bushes in the backyard in Cheyenne when I was a very small boy. And those lilac bushes made the sweetest smelling caves that any boy ever explored.
My mom made my life more beautiful by encouraging me to go outside and see the beauty in nature.
Now I feel like I have to go up. My father has made my life more beautiful by showing me his favorite TV shows and games and making my life more enriched.
Okay, good job, everyone. We give thanks for the ways in which all of these special people have blessed our lives. And if you are still wondering about what you can do to make the world more beautiful, I offer these words from UU author Jan Tadeo, who wrestled with this question in her poem, 3 Things. She writes, 3 things. 3 things we must do. It is to act in kindness, serve justice, love God and your neighbor even as you love yourself. But where do I start? So much thoughtlessness, hatred, and fear, too little justice, too much selfishness. Where is God? Who is my neighbor? 3 things, 7 principles, 10 commandments, 12 steps, all number of things speak to us, and yet we must choose. We must choose to do something. So 3 things may be the right number, not too few, not too many. But which thing shall I do? Will you do? Here's an adage I've always liked. Don't just do something, stand there. Stand in the surf, or sit on a rock, or lay your body across the earthy loam and be quiet, very quiet. Do you hear it? That still small voice, that echo of your soul reverberating with a call to your own true self to emerge. And then the calm within becomes the calm without. The storm blows over, the sun recovers its position of strength, and that glorious symbol of hope and unity emerges across the sky. And at the end of that rainbow, a treasure. 3 things you must do. Go outside yourself and know the needs of the world, and go within and discover your life-given gifts. And then arch yourself like a rainbow bridge between the two and create a more beautiful world. May it be so.